Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a new video. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Jessica. I'm a certified 500-hour yoga instructor and I create free classes here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going to be offering 6 tips on how you can get more flexible. Now, not many people know this about me, but when I first started practicing yoga, I wasn't very flexible. In fact, I could barely bend over and touch my toes. I had been an athlete for many years. I played soccer, so I always had really tight hips and hamstrings. As a student and a teacher over the past few years, I've really had to learn how to work with my body in order to achieve my own flexibility goals. Recently, I created a 7-day flexibility course on my yoga app, which teaches you how to safely access and achieve full body flexibility and mobility. You'll learn how to lengthen and stretch your muscles in the most effective ways through energizing dynamic yoga flows as well as relaxing yin sequences. So if you're interested in checking out that course, I'll have the link to my yoga app in the description box down below. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 6 flexibility tips. The first tip is to always warm up. Now, this is especially important for those who have very specific flexibility goals. So for instance, if you're trying to learn postures such as splits, king dancers, wheel pose, these are all very big stretches that require proper warm-up and even a breakdown of the posture. A lot of people will want to skip the warm-up and jump straight into these big advanced postures, thinking that this is going to be the quickest way to gain flexibility, but in reality, this is actually what leads to injury. So the body truly has a mind of its own. It wants to make sure that it's in a safe place in order to fully open up. So when you take your time to warm up, your body will feel safe and naturally it will allow you to go deeper into your stretches. This is why in a typical yoga class, you will see these big postures or stretches performed at the end of the class when the muscles are already nice and warmed up. As yoga teachers, we try to spend about 10 to 20 minutes on the warm-up alone, of course, depending on the full length of the yoga class. If you're stretching alone at home, you can warm up with a few rounds of sun salutations. You can go for a quick walk or run just to get some cardio in and get that blood flow going. But you really want to try to aim for anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes for your warm-up. You can also do your warm-up after a workout, which is even better, but really just make sure that you're spending intentional time to warm up before moving into deeper stretches. My second tip is to work on both flexibility and mobility. Now, mobility refers to your ability to move freely and efficiently. So when we're looking at mobility, say in the shoulder joint, which connects your upper arm to your shoulder blade, what we're looking at here is a ball and socket. So we're looking at how freely the arm can move in a circular motion in that shoulder joint. So say we're trying to move or stretch the arm backwards. If there's any type of limitation in this joint that won't allow for that movement, then you're not going to get the full benefit of that stretch and you won't be able to increase your flexibility. So ultimately, flexibility and mobility go hand in hand. So when we're working with both, we really want to make sure that we're doing static stretching, which is a stretch that is held in a challenging yet comfortable position for a certain period of time, usually anywhere between 30 to 60 seconds. You'll typically see static stretching done in a hatha yoga class, but it's also great to do static stretching after a workout, after a yoga flow, or just as part of your cool down routine in general. Dynamic or active stretching often includes a series of specific movements that are designed to prepare the muscles for performance. So this increases blood flow throughout the body, therefore warming up the muscles. Power yoga, vinyasa yoga usually incorporate dynamic stretches. The best time to practice these yoga stretches are before your workout or as your warm-up in your yoga class. You also want to make sure you're doing passive stretching, which is a technique where you are fully relaxed and make no contribution to the range of motion. Instead, you can use props to help you stretch, such as a yoga block, towel, strap, band, bolster, wall, or even gravity. Restorative yoga and yin would be great examples of these. And finally, mobility stretches like these, which will help you achieve a better range of movements and keep your joints flexible, stable, and strong. Before we get into the next tip, I would like to thank and introduce you to today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning. I've used Skillshare many times before, and I love how they have so many different topics to explore and that their classes are easily accessible. The most recent course I've taken is called Unlock Your Hips and Deepen Your Splits. The teachers really break down the anatomy of splits, breaking it down step by step so that you can safely achieve this posture on your own. As a teacher myself, this platform is so helpful because it has resources and tools I can use to expand my knowledge and then ultimately help educate others. The first 1,000 people to sign up using my code Jessica Richberg or the link in my description box will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video, and now let's get into the next tip. The third flexibility tip is to get familiar with the human anatomy. When I think of anatomy, I think of it as a tool or resource that we can use to deepen our connection and understanding of our bodies and ultimately of ourselves. When I was first practicing yoga, this was really important to me because I really wanted to achieve splits. So when I was first working on this pose, I thought that I only had to work on hamstring flexibility. But as I was doing research, I started to learn that I also needed to work on my hip flexors, my adductors, glutes, as well as my groin flexibility. So I really had to dive deeper into these bigger muscle groups. So expanding your knowledge with human anatomy will help you on your flexibility journey. And not only learning about the human body in general, but learning about your specific anatomical structure or body makeup. Our DNA is so unique and it's what makes up our skeletal system. So the more you know about your body, the easier it'll be for you to know whether you need to work on more flexibility or mobility and what specific muscle groups you need to stretch so that you can achieve your own personal flexibility goals. My fourth tip is to stay relaxed as you stretch. Flexibility is not actually determined by our muscles, but by our nervous system. So for example, say you have tight hamstrings and you do a forward fold. Your brain will send a warning signal to your hamstrings from the nervous system, and your hamstrings will respond by contracting. They do this as a survival mechanism. When they contract, they may lose flexibility, but they gain strength, which they use to protect you. Your first instinct might be to push past this feeling, but pulling yourself deeper won't improve your flexibility and could actually cause you to get injured. Flexibility is not about pulling on our muscles until they grow longer. It's about teaching our muscles to relax when we hit our edge or our limits. A relaxed muscle is a loose muscle, and that's where you will gain flexibility. This is also why yin yoga is so amazing for increasing flexibility, because it's focused on fully relaxing the mind and the body. You're holding stretches for a longer period of time with the goal of releasing tension and targeting the deep connective tissues between the muscles and fascia throughout the body. So if you haven't given yin yoga a try, I highly recommend it. But overall, just try to remember to stay relaxed as you stretch, and this will help you access and gain deeper flexibility. The fifth tip is to use your breath. So going along with the previous tip, when you learn to focus on your inhales and your exhales, you're sending a signal to your nervous system to relax thus loosening your muscles. So the next time you're stretching, try to think of it like this. With every inhale, focus on alignment and integrity of your pose. With every exhale, think about letting go and sinking a little bit deeper into the stretch. A lot of our muscle tension comes from a fearful brain. This turns on the sympathetic nervous system, which triggers muscle contraction. The moment you realize you're holding your breath or clenching is when you should stop. When you constrict your breath, oxygen gets cut off from your muscles, which also makes them tighten. Try to remain calm by keeping your breath long and smooth and reminding yourself that you are safe so your brain and nervous system can relax. Another thing that can be helpful is counting your breath as you stretch. So allowing your inhales to be the same length as your exhales, or even allowing your exhales to be slightly longer. This will inevitably allow your muscles to relax and lengthen and give you deeper access into the stretch. The sixth and final tip is to stay consistent. Now, this is especially important when you're trying to increase flexibility. I always recommend stretching a little bit every day rather than having one big long stretching session once a week. Now, your muscles have something that is known as muscle memory. So they're pretty good at remembering things that they've recently done. So when we're trying to learn a new skill, typically we try to do that consistently, if not every day, then every other day. What happens when we go over 3 days without practicing that skill? Our bodies go through something known as detraining. So what happens during this process is our muscles start to lose memory of what we've recently learned. So all of the benefits and the progress that we made during that training process gets lost, and ultimately the body can become weaker or less fit. So the goal is to stimulate the muscles before we get into that detraining phase so that we can keep a consistent routine and continue to see long-held results. So keep in mind, if you're stretching every day, then your muscles are going to more easily remember what that stretch felt like the day before than the week before that. So if you're stretching consistently and every day, then it should become easier and easier. A great way to incorporate a little bit of stretching each day is to just include it into your daily routine. So whether that's in the morning right after waking up, at night when you're winding down for bed, maybe while you're watching TV, or even after a workout. But just make sure that you're getting in at least 5 to 15 minutes a day. That's really all you need. Something that really helped me at the beginning of my flexibility and yoga journey was participating in online yoga challenges or flexibility courses that really helped me stay accountable. Another thing that I like to do was take photos or videos of my progress before, during, and then after I was able to achieve a specific posture. This really helped me to stay motivated, and it was just really nice to see my progress day by day, little by little. And remember, wherever you are in your yoga practice, your flexibility journey, to truly enjoy, appreciate, and honor where you're at now. Be patient with yourself as your body's learning to open up. You're learning a new skill, so it's going to naturally take time. And remember, flexibility is not only about the body, but it's also about the mind. So being open to new experiences, trying new things, being present with ourselves, present with our bodies and our breath. So enjoy the journey. It's truly what it's all about. Remember not to compare yourself to others, because we are all so unique and so different, and we all have our own special experiences. So those are my 6 stretching tips that I have for you today. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you aren't yet already, and I will have the link to my yoga app down in the description box below. Again, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you guys soon.